Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dragon's Den podcast, and probably the last one for the year. And we've got two big names for this podcast. One name that everyone's heard around the AFL community, and one rising star that is also related to the first one I've mentioned. The first one, Will Ashcroft. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you guys going?
Yeah, good,
Not
good.
too bad.
And our second guest is his younger brother, Levi. Levi, how are you?
Yeah, good, very good.
That's the way.
Well, let's move straight into it, and we always start with a bit of general Dragons talk. So the first major thing that's happened since the last podcast, NAB League Boys Team of the Year was announced, and we've got 4 names that made it into that squad. Will, captain in the side, will ask you a question in a sec. Harry Sheasel, Cam McKenzie, Charlie Clark. I mean, how's the honour, Will, to be named as captain for that squad? And just general, how did you find the year in the NAB League for the team and a success? You know, what was it like in your eyes?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think, obviously, we're lucky enough to win the Premiership, so it made it a lot sweeter, and the year was a lot more enjoyable on the whole. But sort of touching on the team of the year, it's a great honour. I think I sort of spoke about it, doing a few interviews around the team of the year stuff. That there's been a lot of great players, a lot of great captains across a lot of teams throughout this year, the NAB League. So yeah, it's a great honour to be named captain on that side, and they're more centered around the Dragons. Yeah, it's been incredible. The run we sort of put together, leading into the finals last game against Oakleigh, we sort of come up a bit short, and we're lucky enough to string a lot of good footy together as a team, and yeah, it was a great honour to captain the team to a Premiership.
Yeah, cool. And our, I guess, second piece of significant info is there was an under-17s futures match played at the MCG as a curtain raiser before the grand final. So we had Archie Roberts and Riley Sanders playing in that. Levi, I'll throw a question to you. What do you like most about playing with those younger boys?
Well, Arch, he's a funny man. I really enjoy playing with him. He's, good player off the half back, and he's just inclusive. And Riley in the middle, play with him a bit. He's just all round nice guy, and he's always plays team first, which is good.
So we'll go to our finals. The first of our finals was against the Calder Cannons in a quarterfinal. Won our wildcard game against Murray, and probably played a team that we weren't expecting, I guess, looking at the ranked teams in that wildcard round. Boys got off to probably a slower start than usual, but once that second quarter kicked in, it was really all guns blazing from there. Levi, 3 goals of your own on the day. How was your performance? How do you see it through your eyes?
Yeah, myself obviously kicked 3 goals, but as a team was awesome performance. Especially the forward line, we did really well. Like Harry kicked 2, I think Charlie kicked 3. So yeah, and Will Brown played really well. So it was just an all round really good performance from the midfield, defence, and the forward line.
And one thing I want to touch on, people start to notice in the back half of the year, but you two boys play for each other quite a lot. And any time there's something involved with one, the other's always there to help and come back up. To both of you, what is it like, I guess, playing with each other? Because you probably don't expect it considering the age difference. You don't usually get that opportunity. Is it just instinctive nature to go and back up the other person when something happens, because it looked like a scary prospect if you're the opposition in some of those circumstances? I'll throw to you first, Will, and then Levi.
Yeah, it's definitely not pre-planned or anything like that. I think Levi and I caught a fair bit of attention. We definitely did throughout those last 4 weeks of the final series. So we knew going into each game that it was bound to be a little bit of niggle and maybe a little bit of stuff off the ball. So it's just natural, and we sort of just end up in the right spot. And if it's on, it's on, and it is what it is. But nothing pre-planned. But I'll always back Levi up, and I know he'll always back me up. So it's just one of those things that will always be there for each other.
Yeah, so same for me. As Will said, he's always, especially him, he always gets targeted as one of the best players on the ground when he's playing. So just being one of your best mates, knowing that if he's going to get targeted, then I'm not just going to stand by and let that happen. So it's not instinctive. It's sort of just when it happens, it happens. Yeah, just go and back him up.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to watch from a spectator point of view, and I'm sure a lot of people love watching it. And then we won that game. You boys won that game by, I think, 61 in the end, very convincingly. So through to a prelim against Gippsland.
Yeah, cool. So the prelim, different. We played Gippsland obviously earlier in the year, but I don't think either of you boys played that. It was an away trip and two completely different teams, so didn't really know what we're coming up against. It felt like watching it that your pressure was up all day for the full 4 quarters. So from that point of view, it was a pretty good performance. Either of you, we'll start maybe with you, Will. How did you see the prelim?
Yeah, as you said, most of us didn't really know much about them, and I think pretty sure it was a Vic Metro game that week. We played Gippsland earlier in the year, and they had a country game, so we didn't get to see their better players either. So a lot of unknown coming into the game, and I think we stood up from right. It was pretty close early on, but as you said, that the pressure and everyone adopting to play their role in every line, I think that was imminent in that game especially. I think was probably a turning point for our team, that we sort of come up against a really good opposition and were able to play the footy we wanted to play, that Cripper put together for 4 quarters, and every player in every position adopted and played the role they were assigned to play, and we just did it really well. 22 or 23 blokes just played their role really, really well, and I think that gave us huge belief going into the granny that we could do anything.
Yeah, Levi, that game as well, it felt like the defence. Darcy Gilbert, Gus McLennan were both in the best that day, and Skylar was pretty good as well. How did you find, I guess, the defence gelling? Obviously, opposite ends of the ground to you, but how did you see the defence in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks of the season?
Oh yeah, the defence lifted immensely in the last 5 weeks. As you mentioned, those 3 boys really good in the air and on the ground, so that helped us a lot from rebounding off the back half and taking it into the forward line where I was playing and we were in the middle. So yeah, their pressure and their ability to win the ball and then get it going forward was really beneficial for the side in the last few weeks. Yeah.
And final one, I guess, on the prelim, Charlie Clark kicked a pretty good goal and sort of gave the rev up to the crowd. What's he like, I guess, as a teammate?
Oh yeah, another funny guy on the team. He's just a ripper. He just plays for everyone. He's just unbelievable goal sneak, and just love playing with him. He's good, very good player to have on the team.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, through to the big dance, the grand final. Before we touch on it, I want to go back 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whenever it was, the Eastern game. And I want to ask you, Will, this was a big week for you. You committed to Brisbane that week. Personally, I felt like something changed in the way you play. You seemed a lot more relaxed out there. And that game was really, I think a lot of, internally people were a bit worried about what was going to happen for the back end of the season. But your leadership took another level at that point. A couple of things happened inside the club, post-match that sort of set the tone, I think, moving forward, that probably without these things happening wouldn't have led to a grand final and a premiership. Can you talk me through sort of that game and that week for you? And did anything change, I guess, in your approach and moving forward with that group?
Yeah, I think, as you said, I announced I was going to Brisbane then, and definitely a weight lifted off my shoulders that I could I was always heavily invested in the Dragons system and in the program, and that never wavered, and that was never, that was always there. But I think it definitely lifted, so I could put my full focus into just that and know that the Brisbane stuff will take care of itself later in the year, and we can just lock in on this and try to go win a premiership. So, I think that was a tough day. I think we went down by a fair bit to Eastern, and I think I definitely took a step forward in my leadership, and I think it was necessary from a team standpoint. It was very necessary that we sort of addressed that, left that stuff at the door. We sort of dumped the vision on that game and just sort of moved forward in a mental manner, and sort of just said this is a line in the sand moment for the side, and Cripper and I are heavily a part of that, being the captain, the coach of the team, and I think that definitely turned some heads a bit, and it worked for sure. I think from then on, we sort of shifted and turned into a completely different team. The results obviously still took a little bit of time, and we still suffered. I think we only maybe lost 1 or 2 more there, but I think just that that team camaraderie sort of changed, and everyone started just playing week by week. Everyone just started playing more and more team footy and the brand we want to play. So I think that was definitely a line in the sand moment, and I'm actually glad that sort of happened in the end, that we sort of went down by so much and everyone had a bit of a shift in mindset, because everyone thought it might have just happened for us and we're the Sandy Dragons and we're going to go far in the finals, and that's just not how it works. So I'm glad that sort of happened, and everyone sort of shifted their mindset a bit, and it worked out in the end.
So fast forward back to the grand final now. Levi as the youngest player in the team, what's it like, I guess, it's the biggest NAB league stage and you're one of the younger guys? How does that, how was the lead up to it for you?
No, it's sort of a normal game for me. Obviously, big stage, but treat it as the same game as the one before and the one before that. Obviously playing with a lot of my mates, a lot of older boys, but they're always, inclusive of me, and I just felt like I'm one of the boys and one of the same as Will, same as any other player in the team. So I couldn't wait. I was so excited, and had a lot of fun out there. Yeah,
cool. And for you, Will, what was the build up like as captain?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think it was probably the biggest game most people on the day were preparing to play in their lives. So, and I think it was pretty emphasised, and everyone was aware that was the last time we'd all play together in this team. This is the last game anyone will, this team will be assembled. So, I was really looking forward to it. I knew we had a huge challenge ahead, and I just knew, especially reflecting on the Gippsland game, that if we could play like that and everyone could just play selfless footy again, and play the team way, that we were going to be hard to stop. And lucky everyone did, and no one bought into the selfish mindset of trying to get their moment on grand final day, but just waiting for their moment and playing the team way and buying back into the team. And everyone did that so well, and the results followed.
Do you remember what you said pre-match?
Oh, potentially. I don't know. It would have been something along the lines of that pretty much that. Like, just don't force your moment. That was Cripper's message as well. Just don't have to come out and kick a goal from the boundary and try and be a superstar and get your name up in lights. That'll come.
Yep.
I think, and we sort of harped on about the similar message throughout the whole final series, and we just built on it about just buying into the team, playing your role, and doing that to the best of your ability. And if you're able to do that, the team's going to play well, the team's going to perform well. Ultimately, you're going to perform well as an individual and get your name pushed forward in draft considerations and all that stuff. So, I think everyone did that, and it seemed like everyone listened, which is good, and we're able to play really well.
Yeah, it certainly worked.
I mean, on to the game now. It was probably the most ideal state you can ask for, kicking the first 5 goals, and in the room's 3 games, Cripper was sort of reinforcing that message of nothing changes. And look, it's easy, one of those things where you can say it and keep saying it, but is it as easy said than done? And I guess from a leadership perspective, in your eyes, Will and Levi, just around that group, is it easy to keep going at that intensity and not drop off and sort of start to get worried of what if they come back, what if they kick the next goal, those type of things?
Well, a little. I think, yes and no. I think you're sort of right in some aspects there. I think, we knew Danny and I'm going to come at some point. Like, they're not in the grand final for no reason. So, we knew they were going to step up at some point. And I just knew individually, and I think the team knew that if we just kept pushing and playing our way, and it's a bit boring, I keep saying the same thing, but I reckon that's how we play our best footy, is that if everyone just kept buying in and played selfless and didn't waver. I think, especially when we're 5 goals up, whatever the score was in the first quarter, everyone can think, oh, awesome, locked it away, now I can just go, and then sort of fall out of the team aspect. And I think that's very easy for a lot of people to do, even at AFL level. So that was just to continue that message and continue saying it's not over, and we need to keep coming back to what we know and what we know works, which is keep buying into the team, play team footy, selfless, all the same messaging. So then we can further that margin and continue to play a team brand that ultimately wins as a premiership. But yeah, I knew I want to come at some point, and they got a lot of good players, and that's right for the while they're in the grand final. So yeah, we knew we had to keep our heads down and not look too far ahead.
Levi, question for you. Where do you think, and I'll put you on the spot a little bit here, where do you think the game was won and lost? Was it the pressure side of things? Was it, as Will said, like the team buy-in? How did you sort of see it on the day?
Yeah, both, a lot of things, but I think, team buy-in, just that mentality of the 0-0 every time a moment, like 10 minutes pass or a quarter past. So, like the team just knowing that it's not over until it's over. So you got to play all the way through to the end. And as Will said, we knew that standing on was going to come at some stage, but we just had to go back to that team first, and knowing that it's 0-0 every 10 minutes, every quarter, just going back to even footy.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I guess the third quarter was one of those sort of, you're going to win it or you're going to lose in this quarter. The whole Premiership quarter comes up every time.
Yep.
And really put the foot down, and it was terrific from sitting on the sidelines and watching it, and even I remember just sort of talking to a lot of these boys on this podcast. A lot of them have never won a premiership before, and you could tell it did mean a lot to quite a lot of them. Just it hurt them saying that during these podcasts. I mean, in all honesty, were you a bit relaxed at 3/4 time? Surely, when you're 10 goals up. Look, unless something really miraculous happens, were you sort of comfortable, or were you just probably going to put in for a good 5-10 minutes and then start to relax? Both of you, for that question. Will, you go first?
Yeah, it's funny. I think, I'm a bit more like Cripper. I think his message was put the foot on the pedal and put him to bed a bit, and just keep pushing it and try and put him to the sword a bit. So that's sort of where I was thinking as well. That mindset of just, I mean, I definitely, you get a little bit more relaxed, and you're thinking, not that you've won, but you can loosen up a bit and play some fun footy and enjoy the last quarter. You're not all uptight. Definitely there's an aspect of that, but still foot on the pedal, and keep trying to bury them, I guess, was sort of my thinking. And it didn't eventuate that way, but that's sort of my mindset, and most of the team's mindset heading into the last quarter.
Levi?
Yeah, for myself, at 3/4 time, I didn't think it was over. I knew we had to finish the job, but sort of halfway through the third, towards the end of the third, I was talking to a few of the boys in the forward line, saying, we've won a premiership here. So it was pretty cool, that last sort of half of the last quarter, knowing that we're going to win a premiership, we can have a little bit of fun and loosen up, as Will said. So never thought it was over until sort of the end of the fourth quarter. So we're going to have a bit of fun.
Yeah. Post match, what were your sort of first feelings?
There you go.
You go.
You're up, mate.
I was just so happy, being able to win with my brother, obviously, but all those boys, knowing that some of them hadn't, as you said, some of them hadn't won premiership themselves, so they were just so happy, and I was sorry for them and for myself. That was Will's first. He was 0-4 before that, so that was pretty cool for him and for myself. So. Oh
wow! So you hadn't won one before? Will?
Yeah.
No, I lost. Well, I haven't really played in a couple of grand finals for the last couple of years because of COVID, and my first year in Melbourne, I just played school footy and for Vic, so there was no real final series. But back here on the Gold Coast, I lost 4 in a row, so that was a bit of a shambles. But no, I think winning that one, I think my first thoughts were probably that finally winning one, which is pretty awesome. But also just it's a testament to all the hard work everyone's put in. Like, I can't speak highly enough of Cripper and the coaching staff about sort of just reflecting back on past games, and that Eastern Games definitely want to reflect it on about how we sort of come from there to winning a premiership, which is pretty incredible if you look at it from where we were, and how we were struggling a little bit. So it's just a testament to all the hard work everyone put in, and the belief that was instilled in everyone, because by no means were we certainties to even get to the grand final, win finals. It's just that's my message. Just a testament to all the coaches, all the players, all the buy-in, all the belief that was instilled in everyone to actually get on the straight and narrow and go win the thing, and we did it.
Yeah. Will won the Best on Ground award as well that day. I think he had 39 touches and heap of tackles, a couple of goals, whatever it was. Filled the stat sheet again. If you didn't win it, who do you think was the next in line?
Good question. I think Cam McKenzie was good that day as well.
Yeah.
And Shees. Probably we'll give it equal to those two. I think Cam was really good in the midfield alongside Hodson and I think Shees kicked forward, didn't he? I think so. He had another good ripping day. So yeah, those two were very pivotal in the win. And pivotal in most weeks that we win. So yeah.
And I guess the last two in relation to this season, I want from both of you favourite moment of the night, the grand final night, and then favourite moment of the season that wasn't the grand final.
You go, Levi.
My favourite moment of the grand final, in the game, Mitch Rowe's goal was pretty cool when he got that goal. He was very, very hyped for himself. So yeah, I got around him, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Also after the game, just being around everyone in the locker room and just, soaking it all in. That was a pretty cool moment for myself. Yeah.
Favourite moment of the season?
Moment of the season. Well, for myself, probably say that goal I kicked. Murray was pretty cool, so that was a pretty cool moment for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, grand final day, probably when we sing the song at the end in the middle. That was pretty symbolic and pretty awesome, and that was probably the best moment of the night. In the season, I was actually going to say that your goal as well. It was pretty nice goal.
Yeah.
Against Murray, but I have to think about that now a bit. Favorite moment in the season? Probably playing Levi the first time. For the first time in about a year. So I think it was Oakley game. Would have been the first game. Oh no, sorry, the Western game we played earlier in the year. And we both had pretty handy days. So that was good fun.
All right, well let's move on to your junior careers for both of you. When did footy sort of come into the equation, I guess? And obviously you haven't always been in Melbourne. From both of you, really just talk me through where your footy started, and I guess from juniors to now, where's it all progressed to, and how have you found your junior career so far? So I'll start with you, Will, and then Levi afterwards.
Yeah, so we played all that footy, junior footy on the Gold Coast. We started Broadbeach, I want to say. Played there for a number of years, and then moved over to Southport when it's got a bit more serious. We started playing. I think it was. I reckon I was 12. Levi was 10. So we moved over to Southport. So we always played 2 years up, and we really enjoyed that. Really good challenge. But I think when it sort of moved into a more elite pathway was when we moved to Melbourne, and we both went to Brighton. Levi to the Brighton Grammar. I graduated from Brighton Grammar last year, and just being in those programs, playing first footy for Brighton Grammar, representing Victoria, which we've both been able to do, which is an awesome achievement. And then Levi played. Well, I won't speak for Levi, but he played a bit more club footy than I did here. So really enjoyed playing at Broadbeach and Southport for my more junior years, and learned a lot of great lessons there, and had a lot of great coaches. And then we got a bit more serious, or a bit more elite, moving to Melbourne and really giving ourselves a chance to play against the best players, as they usually come from Victoria. So that was awesome for our development.
Yeah, as Will said, started at Broadbeach, went to Southport. Then when I came over to Melbourne, as Will said, got a little bit more serious. I went to St Kilda City to play with a few of my mates there, from under 14s, 15s to 16s this year. And then, obviously Brighton Grammar the last 2 years, year 9 and year 10. So I've still got a few more years of junior footy, which I'm excited about. Obviously Sandy, Vic Metro, hopefully next few years. And that's it basically. So I'm enjoying it in Melbourne now. So excited for the next 2 years.
Well, you both sort of talked about premierships a bit. I guess people who inspired you on your junior journeys, is there anyone for both of you that stands out? Anyone that sort of inspired you to take that next level during your juniors?
I think at Southport I was playing under 16s when I was 13, 14, and my coach there, Shane Nichols and Wayne Riddle, I think both coaching at the time. They were really good, huge. They coached Levi as well when he went up a little bit in the age groups. But yeah, they were definitely my first two coaches that I just loved, and I thought they were taught me and Levi, or Levi and I, a lot of great lessons, footy wise and off the field, and was more importantly better blokes and better people. So yeah, they're the two that sort of were my first two coaches I loved, and we're really grateful for all their support and yeah, all the coaching that they gave us way back when.
Levi?
Yeah, obviously Dad and both my parents, obviously. Dad obviously played footy back in his day. So he, inspired me with what he used to do, won his 3 premierships. So yeah, that was very inspiring for me. But also when Dad worked for the Suns, Gary Ablett was one of my idols and one of my heroes. So he inspired me to take the next step with my footy on the Gold Coast, and then now still inspiring me in Melbourne. So yeah, he was sort of my hero and person I sort of followed and he was my role model. So I modeled my game off him. So yeah, he's the one for me.
Yeah, just on your dad, obviously you played for a long time with Brisbane and won flags there. How I guess hands-on was he with your footy stuff? Did he coach at all? Was he purely just spectating and helping on the sidelines? What was sort of his role with your junior career?
He was early days. He coached one season I think for Will, but yeah, after that, not really that hands-on with our careers. Just take a back seat if we ask for a bit of help. Yeah, he'll obviously give us his advice or his his wisdom. But yeah, he wanted to let us forge our own paths and not get caught up on what he did, and just let us do what we can to get ourselves to take that bigger step to the high level, whether it's AFL or Sandy or Metro, whatever. So yeah, he's just sort of been there for us when we need him, but yeah, never pushed us or anything like that. So yeah.
So now I guess onto your time in Melbourne. Did you move to Melbourne for footy to start with, or was it for work or family, or what was your sort of main reason to move to Melbourne?
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, well, Dad had a job at AFL that he was sort of moving into, and did that. He did that for 1 year while we were still living on the Gold Coast. So that was sort of the main reason. I think we viewed it as a pretty big opportunity as well. We did a lot of research, toured a lot of the good APS schools, and just thought probably the right time in terms of age, sort of moving into the draft, still having 3-4 years, sort of see what's out there and explore new things and be in elite pathways that can develop you. So yeah, we really enjoyed our time. I'm obviously moving to Brisbane now. I really enjoyed my time, and Levi and Lucy will continue to reap the rewards of being in elite pathways here in Melbourne. So it's awesome there, and we love it.
Yeah, cool. Well, when did you first enter the Dragons program?
I reckon I started doing a little bit of training with the 16s when I first came to Melbourne, so it would have been 14, I reckon. And I started doing a bit of training there, and then officially went into the program. I reckon it was the year after when I was eligible. So I think when I was 15, coming off the back of playing for Victoria and playing down in Tassie in the schoolboys tournament there, and then sort of moving into the program then.
Yeah, and Levi, what about yourself? Are you this year?
No, I was last year. I did. Sorry, it was this year actually. Yeah, this year with with this Sandy, and then was it last year when I was in the 15s, or was it this year? I remember.
Well, you had a couple of games with Moods as the coach.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That last pre-season, then you sort of moved to the 18s pathway throughout the year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, last year I played with the under 15s boys for 3 games, and then this year obviously into the main comp.
Yeah. Levi, what did you find? Obviously, you played with Brighton this season. How did you find the transition, I guess, from the school footy stuff to the NAB League stuff?
Obviously NAB League's got all the best players around Melbourne and around Victoria in all the teams. But it's probably the main thing for me was sort of the pressure. Was sort of like there was more contested ball in schoolboys, and then the pressure and the level of skill and sort of that was a lot better in the NAB League.
Yeah.
So it was a lot quicker, a lot faster than school footy for me. But yeah, similar, very similar.
Yeah, and Will, obviously, you've touched on your leadership before. Had you been a captain of whether it's footy or basketball or other sports? Had you had much leadership experience prior to this year?
Yeah, I've captained most footy teams I've been in. So
Yeah.
Sort of started. Back here on the Gold Coast, I was captain of most teams and swimming, all that sort of stuff, and then moving into more representative stuff. Like I captained the Vic schoolboys team at under 15 level. Captain Dragons when I was a bit younger. And then Vic Metro and Australia and all that stuff. So yeah, I've had a fair few leadership roles and
Yeah, what sort of leader would you say you are? Are you lead by example? Are you a big talker in the change room? What's sort of your leadership style?
Yeah, I think it varies a little bit. I'm probably my main one I try and show is leading by example on the track and on game day. I think that's the most important one if you're going to succeed in elite sport. So yeah, leading by example, and I think also on top of that having that personal stuff as well with players and making sure you're there to put your arm around them as well and be there as an emotional support network, I guess, as well. So yes, just picking your moments and knowing when to be hard and ruthless and trying to drive everyone to achieving a common goal, and then also having that emotional connection and personal level as well.
Yeah. And final one, outside of Cripper, who are, I guess, two of the people at the Dragons that have really helped you this season and the past few seasons?
Yeah, I think this year, although I had a lot to do with this year's, obviously has been the midfield coach this year, but hadn't had a lot to do with him really since this year, and I've been really enjoyed his work and working really closely with him, whether it be organising meetings or on the training track drills, how we get the best out of the midfield and perform at the highest level. So yeah, I've loved working with Nishi this year.
Well, I mean, sorry, go Dale.
Levi, anyone for you that stood out?
Yeah, obviously I played a bit of mid and forward, but yeah, Cookie was mine. So sort of the forward craft after the game, after training, he was very, very helpful, and as he knows his stuff. So yeah, he was the person for me.
Had you played much forward before? Like I suspect it seems to be the case in your junior years that your best players are always in the midfield. Had you played much forward prior to this year?
Yeah, as I am a midfielder, so yeah, for my own age, I play midfield. But yes, like when I've rested forward, or even last year, played forward when I was in Year 9. I would say at a young age, I played that 5th and 6th role as I played for Dragons this year. So yeah, I've had some experience with playing forward, but mainly midfield for myself.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to talk about this personal side a bit quickly, because obviously a lot about you two is about football and ability, and that's always the talk. I just thought it'd be nice to just get to know you two as just general people, because I think, that can be lost sometimes when, especially in a draft year, when a lot of the pressure, a lot of the talk is on you, on you, especially this year, Will, just to live up to whatever's being said in the media. But just both of you, give us a rundown of who you actually are as people. What are your general interests outside of football? What do you two do to really pass the time? And for you, Will, how do you get your mind off some of that media talk that comes around? Because obviously there'd be a lot of pressure on your name to withhold, I guess, your dad's name, but also just generally, if you're getting told you're going to be a number one pick, it could probably be a pressure situation most of the time. But both of you two, just tell us about yourselves and, personality-wise, just give us a bit of a rundown.
Yeah. We were sort of discussing just before we started the podcast about I've got a little side business that I'm sort of working on, so that's taking up a bit of my time, and I'm really enjoying working through that process. And it's just another challenge, I think, and sort of focused around performance and well-being. Centered around young people, sort of progressing and trying to perform and just live happy and healthy lives. So that's sort of what I'm trying to do and what I'm doing outside of footy mainly at the moment. And then sort of the hobby or another interest, Levi and I love the NFL, so we're die-hard fans. I love the Steelers, and Levi loves the Broncos. So yeah, we love that and track both those teams very closely and watch all those games. So yeah, it's probably our main interest. And we both love golf as well. Try to get out and play once a week if we're lucky, and in the holidays probably a little bit more.
You, Levi?
Yeah, you just basically took what I was going to say. So yeah, I was going to say, yeah, a bit of golf and NFL as well. Just big sports people and yeah, big family people. So yeah, I was going to took what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the better golfer?
I am, I reckon.
Yeah.
Still got it.
Levi's
Still
way
got
better,
it.
unfortunately. I'll have to cop that.
Where's your what's your go-to course? Do you play locally or do you try and get around a bit?
Yeah, I remember at Huntingdale. So yeah, Will comes on as a guest there when we can.
Yeah, he's the tagline.
He's my guest. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So you've obviously both played Metro as well. What was that like? Will, again, I guess you're surrounded by the best of the best. You've obviously done your stuff with the Australia team too. What's it like when, I guess, there's people that are like closer to you? No disrespect for the rest of the Sandy guys, but you know, Vic Metro is another step above. What's that experience like for you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing. Vic Metro this year was another great challenge, and we're lucky enough to go 4-0 in the champs, which is awesome. So, I was lucky enough to play with a lot of Sandy guys in there as well. We sort of mentioned that before, and especially in the midfield, like Hots was through there a lot. Cam and I were starting in there most games, so I think all games. So that was awesome to see some familiar faces in there and play alongside those guys. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for a lot of guys in the Vic Metro team, and we're lucky enough to play some really good footy and win a lot of games. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, to take your mind back to the final of the championships against Country a week and a bit ago now, I think it was. How was that? Last quarter was pretty tense. It was a really good game actually, but
yeah.
I think it was Cadman that kicked a goal with about 5 or so minutes left to put them in front. What were you sort of thinking then?
Yeah, I was thinking we just got to get the clearance to get it forward. I knew that we had some pretty good forwards and we could get a goal. I wasn't doubting that, but I think the worry was if they sort of got it forward and sort of locked it down a bit, then it would be hard to go coast to coast. So, I think we did get the clearance and sort of got it in there. And, a few minutes later, we were lucky enough to get a goal. So, I think that was my thought, just to make sure we lock it down, repeat stoppage or try to get it forward and give ourselves a chance.
Yeah. Levi, what have you sort of enjoyed the most from your Metro experiences so far?
We unfortunately didn't get the win, but I was meeting those new faces and all those, obviously the best players in the Metro for our age. So being able to play with them and, collaborating on the field, on and off the field, obviously as we went to Gold Coast and Adelaide. So yeah, just being able to play with all the best players for my age was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll throw to both of you now. Who's one player that's not Sandy related who you think will, go on to do really well for themselves in the footy space?
You on or me?
I can go. So what, 18s, like whose age?
No, your age at 16s level.
I'll probably say someone from BGS. I think Harry Oliver. Do you know who Harry Oliver is?
Yeah, he played. Played that game you played, Western, yeah. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, so we both debuted
outside Sandy.
Oh yeah, shit. Jacob Smith, he's a really good player. I really enjoyed playing him in the middle for Metro, so I think he'll go a long way.
Yeah, cool. Will?
I think, good question. I think Matthew Jefferson. Played with him a little bit for a fair few years now, actually, for Victoria and Vic Metro, and against him for Oakley and Wesley. So, he's very good centre forward, and I've enjoyed playing with him over the last couple of years, and he has a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, cool. Nathan, do you want to go with what's next?
Well, the question for you two, what's next? We've finished pretty much all rep footy, all Dragons footy's all done for the year. Will, what's next for you leading up to the draft? And Levi, what's next for you? Goals for the off season and next year. Start with you, Will.
Yeah, so leading in the draft, I'll have a couple of weeks off now. Off running, I'll still be doing a fair bit of training outside of that, but just give my body a rest. And Levi and I and a couple of family members are heading over to America for a couple of weeks, so that'll be a good recharge. And then sort of cracking in and get ready for the draft, leading in the preseason. Sort of head to Brizzy in, I think around the draft time. So got a long preseason ahead, and then sort of launching next year.
Yeah, my goals for next year, obviously playing 10 again. So I'd love to go back to back with a few of those boys. That's one of the goals. Also potentially playing Metro as an under 17 in the 18s. That's a big goal of mine. It's been a big goal. Looking back at a few players as 17s playing with Will. So I'd like to be one of those. It'd be pretty cool. And yeah, obviously also winning the school premiership would be nice next year.
What was that draw like, Levi?
Sorry?
What was the final of that school comp like? It was Caulfield, wasn't it, that you played?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that like a draw? How was that? What was that like afterwards?
Yeah, it was a very weird feeling, but we sort of felt like we won in a way because we were 45 points down in the third quarter. So
Oh,
a bit of
wow.
a comeback, and everyone sort of thought, everyone thought that they were going to win even before the game. So it was a bit of a David and Goliath story in a way. We thought we won at the end because we came back from such a margin.
Yeah. Cool. And were you both catch any NFL games whilst you're over there?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Watching Denver, so Levi's team versus the Chargers at SoFi, so that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
We could have gone to a couple of others, but I think not our team. So we're not gonna do that and do a few other things. So looking forward to that game. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Well, let's move on to the fan questions. Got a few here. I mean, there's actually a couple that you boys sort of answered in a sense throughout the start of the podcast. I'll start off and Dylan and I will just alternate. From Jack Stone, who is going to be the next big player for Sandy?
Oh, me? Yeah. Okay. Oh, you go. You'll be playing with them next year. So.
From this year, I think Riley Sanders, he's going to be really good for us next year. So he'll be great in the midfield for next year.
Ryan Barnes says, "What's your favourite game that you've both played in together?"
I sort of said it before. My favourite moment playing against Western. It was only a round game. So potentially it could be in the grand final, which was awesome. But I think just sort of playing with each other for the first time in a while against the Jets and having a really good win. And that was probably the most enjoyable game that we played.
Yeah, Levi.
I'd say that as well, just after, but also obviously the grand final. Being able to win a premiership with my brother at that high level was just an unbelievable thing for us. So that'd be my favourite game. But obviously the Western game, we'll have a ripper game, and just getting back to playing with him after a few years not playing with him. So it was pretty cool.
Jack Nichols, who was better when you were younger? I guess let's keep it at Levi's age right now. Who was better at 15/16 years old?
He's in the same there.
No, I reckon. I always say this. Actually, we're pretty equal. Like achievements wise, pretty similar. We're pretty much you've done pretty similar things. So no, I think Levi's. I didn't play in a NAB League grand final at 15, so I give the chockies to Levi.
Yeah.
I always say him. He's achieved a lot more than I have at my age so far. So I've always said him. He's just the amount of things he's achieved and being captain of most sides, MVPs, most sides he's played is just incredible. So I always say him.
Yeah. What do you think are your major differences as players? It feels like outside looking in, it feels like Will's very composed and doesn't get rattled by much at all. Whereas Levi, it feels like you've got that little bit of, I don't know, like fire in your belly that is a little bit more, what's the right word? Like not aggressive, but you got that just something else inside of you. What's like your major differences, do you think?
Yeah, it's probably about right. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
Footy wise, I'd say we're pretty similar, but I think Levi and I he has a few things that he does really well that I could potentially take from him and improve on, and vice versa with me. So I think I've been able to add my drive out of stoppage this year, sort of taking that to another level, and not always being first give, but sort of pairing out and using my legs. And I think Levi can potentially improve on that. And I think Levi, his defensive pressure and his chasing and tackling 1% is probably one of the best I've seen from a young guy. And multiple people have told me that about Levi, and I think that's something I can potentially pinch from him. So we're definitely very similar in how we go about it, and there's things we can take from each other. We'll only elevate our games.
Yeah. I suspect this one's directed at you, Levi. Who's better out of Jagger or Smill?
Oh, they're both very, very good players. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say one or the other.
I
But,
can't.
I can't. No, they're both very, very good players. Smill obviously won the best player for the carnival, and yeah, Jagger's an awesome player. So no, can't compare
Yeah.
them at the moment.
So you played with both of them in Metro, have you?
Yeah, they both play with me in Metro. So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Jared Cummins, both of you, I guess, and I'm not an NFL person, but what are your opinions on the Cleveland Browns?
This is Jared. He's your mate, isn't he?
Yeah, he goes to my school. He told me he set this question.
Can't stand the Browns, so
Will hates them because he's the division. Same division.
no,
I think without the Sean Watson at the moment, they're not that good offensively, but their defense is really good. So once they get Sean back, I think they'll be a very good side.
Yeah, they got some hack at quarterback at the moment, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. He's
no, he beat us though last week, so I can't say much.
Yeah. Georgiana asks, what's been your biggest inspiration, or who's been your biggest inspiration along the journey? Coaches, players. Well, let's go with players that you model your game off.
Yeah. Well, I've sort of touched on this a little bit, but I try and model my game off Sam Walsh and Chris Sharp is probably one of my inspirations as well. So they're pretty similar players, and that inside-outside combination, win on the inside and strong over the ball, contested wise, and break the game open and run and carry and hit the scoreboard on the outside as well as it's pretty rare and something I try and pride myself on. And sort of fitting. Joel Selwood sort of retired today as well, and he's been my favourite player ever since I could walk. So I love Joel, and everything he's been able to accomplish is incredible.
Yeah, Levi.
Yeah, I said it before, but Gary Ablett for me, model my game off him all my life. Yeah, since I was young, being around him, just
Yeah, I know Will grew up a Geelong supporter. Levi, are you Geelong as well?
No, I was the Suns and then the Lions.
Yeah.
So just those sides.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Lucy Hudson has asked, what does it take to get into the NAB League?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a very elite pathway, and a lot of good players come and go from there and move on to great things in the AFL and AFLW. So, it takes a lot of hard work, that's for sure. There's no easy solution or easy path you can take to get through a program like the NAB League. It's going to take a lot of work and sacrifice and things that probably have been said over and over again, but prove to be true over and over again. So, they're probably the cliches, but the two that I'd preach.
Levi?
Just hard work to get in the NAB League, just get into the Dragons. You just got to put in away from training and away from everyone else. That'll help you in every way. I'll give you an example of Will. He does everything he can away from sport or football to benefit him as a person and in his body. So that if you can do that as well as train and put in on the track, then you'll get there.
Yeah, cool. Will, this one's for you. Why are you a Steelers fan?
Good question. I don't know. I don't really know how I'd eventuate. Levi will probably talk some rubbish to me about how I change teams all the time. But I don't know. I just like Big Ben. I think I watched a couple of games of him just back in his vintage days, and I was just impressed by him, and sort of caught on. And they were flying at the moment at that time, so they were non-stop winning. So it was pretty easy for me to jump on them, and sort of stuck with them ever since. Yeah. Yeah,
Levi, why the Broncos?
Well, Mum always used to go for them when she was young, but also I used to love Peyton Manning. He's just a great player, just a facilitator, a leader, and I just love watching him play. He just looked like he had so much time in the pocket, so I love watching him.
Yeah, Russ isn't quite the same, is he?
No, well, he's very different. Very different, yeah.
And last question, this one, directed at both of you. Will, did you enjoy your time at BGS? And Levi, do you love being at BGS at the moment? So, Will, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think I touched on that before about how beneficial going to an APS school like BGS has been for Levi and I. And I loved every second of it. Obviously, the sporting and the AFL stuff's incredible. Playing in that comp and being around elite players who have the same goal as you. But not only that, other sports, swimming, I was part of those programs, and also the academic side of things and just the school communities. I love it was 3 years there, love my 3 years there, and would definitely recommend it to someone who's sort of wanting to move into a more elite pathway and develop themselves as footballers or sports people, and just people as just as a person as well.
Levi?
I absolutely love being at BGS at the moment. Just the brotherhood and the buy-in to everything. It might be music, it might be anything. It's just everyone buys into that as people, and it's just it's a great environment to be at a school, especially for sport. And everyone just gets around you as a person, not just a sports person. If you're playing in the first or if you're playing in the fifths, you're equal, which is great for the school and for people at the school.
Sums up pretty well. And our last little segment, just a bit of fun, this or that. Dylan and I will throw two different things at you, and you basically just tell us which one you prefer. So I'll start it off. A beach or a snow holiday?
Beach every day.
Beach, yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Mark of the year or goal of the year?
Mark of the year, easily.
Nah, I'd say goal.
Yeah, depends.
Yeah. Levi's in the top three for the Dragons this season for the goal of the year, so go and vote for Levi.
Yeah.
A night game or a day game? And this one I'd sort of throw at you as a player and as a spectator. Which one would you prefer?
Day for both.
Yeah. Depends. I'd probably say Friday night, yes, but Saturday night, I'd say like twilight over Saturday night, but I'd say Friday night.
Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Really? Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, I'd take pizza.
Yeah. What's your go-to pizza order?
I'm basic. Pepperoni.
Yeah. Levi, what about your favourite pasta?
Just the classic spag bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit boring, but
Okay. English or math?
Neither.
Yeah, neither. Nah. I'd probably say
maths.
English.
What was your favourite subject at school, Will, and what do you like the most now, Levi?
Business. BizMan was my favourite.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Sort of up my alley a little bit, so yeah, that was my favourite.
Yeah, I haven't done BizMan yet, but PE for mine. PE 1-2 doing this year, it being in year 10, so yeah.
Yeah, cool. And the last one is Instagram or TikTok famous?
Insta.
Yeah, I don't have TikTok, Insta.
Who's got the... We've asked everyone this that's come on. Who's got the best Insta game and who's got the worst Insta game?
In the team.
Yeah.
In the team.
Oh, it's hard to know actually.
I don't really.
I don't know.
I reckon. Who's?
I know.
Will's been he's been a common answer for the best. Who's got a lot of the worst?
Jimmy Crichton.
Jimmy Crichton's bad, is he?
100%.
You lost. Oh yeah, no, he could be. He could be the worst.
Will's pretty good. Will rates himself, so I'd say good.
Never said that.
Yes.
Too easy.
All right. Well, that wraps up the last podcast for the 2022 season. Thank you to boys for joining, and just thank you to anyone along this year who's listened in, watched on YouTube. We appreciate all your support, and we hope that we've given the boys all good representation over our time. That wraps up 2022. We've got our best and fairest on next Tuesday night. So follow the socials to see who wins, and we've got a couple other awards that will be given out. So stay tuned on the socials. Thank you to all you three boys, and until then, we will catch you in the next one.